Hi, I'm Scott Schubert, and this is part 2 in our series of advanced professional Forex trading strategies that are currently being used by traders who are earning their sole income from trading. Some of us have come to the conclusion that these strategies that I'm sharing with you in this series of videos are some of the very keys that make all the difference between success and mediocrity or failure. In the last video, I showed you how critically important it is to have an understanding of how time works in the Forex trading business. In this video, I'm going to show you what I call seeking clarity in Forex trading. And I'm not referring to the seeking clarity in regard to having clarity of purpose and intention in your business goals, in your Think and Grow Rich, in your law of attraction, and your goal setting. Although that is also very critical, that's a different subject. What I'm talking about here is much more practical, and it's about finding clarity on your charts that can produce good high probability trading opportunities. Now, if you've been in the Forex trading business for a while, you've heard many people say things like, I trade the pound versus the US dollar, and I just trade that one pair so that I am intimately familiar with its behavior, and that way I can get the best results. Or I trade the euro versus the dollar. Well, the fact is, Forex currency pairs tend to shift in and out of clarity, and they shift in and out of the cycles that produce good conditions for entering and exiting trades. And although it is a good idea to focus, we choose to focus on 1, 2, 3 different pairs, maybe up to 5, after going through a process of sorting out the different pairs, looking for a very specific thing. And I never get permanently attached to any one currency pair. And I also have found that if you permanently exclude certain pairs, you may come back later and discover that pair has been producing really good trading opportunities and you weren't watching it. Now, as you go through all of the pairs and you watch the market day after day, you will see that many of them are almost the same correlated versions of other pairs. And it does make sense to kind of more or less permanently weed out some of the pairs that you just don't need to focus on. For instance, there are all these different yen pairs. So if you look at the euro yen, then you look at the pound yen, and then you look at the Swiss yen, and then you look at the Kiwi yen, and then you look at the Canadian yen, the US dollar yen, you'll find that there is a group of pairs, and they're all doing something kind of similar. And among those, some of them are consistently better opportunities. Some of them consistently move more pips, such as the pound yen, but in exchange, that pair might have more chaos sometimes. Another thing that I've discovered is that if a currency pair looks chaotic on the long time frame, it might actually look clear on a shorter time frame, and vice versa. It may look clear on the longer time frame, but the shorter time frame may have a lot of chaos. So it's very important to go through this process to learn how to seek out and focus on trading opportunities that are clear. That way you are going right to high probability trading opportunities all the time, and you're ignoring all the chaos, and you're staying out of the market with pairs that are just not clear. One big mistake that many traders make is that they believe that their job is to look at a chart and figure out how to trade. That's really not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to understand a very clear and simple thing that you're looking for entering a trade. And if you don't see that, don't trade. And if you don't see it on one currency pair, look at others until you do see it. don't think that you have to look at a pair and figure out how to trade that pair if it's not clear. If it's not clear, just don't trade it. Now, a lot of this will make more sense if you are initiated into our particular trading method. Then you know that you're looking for a very specific thing. And your job is not to figure out how to trade a certain currency pair. It is to look for that specific thing only and not trade unless you see that specific thing. That's one thing that's very difficult for some traders to do, because as they're going through this process of sitting there for hour after hour, there's a natural tendency to believe that they're supposed to figure out how to trade a certain currency pair and come up with reasons to justify why they should enter a trade. Now again, this is always gradually changing and shifting. For instance, we used to do a lot of trading on yen pairs, and lately I have hardly ever traded any of the yen pairs because they have become, at least for the time being, unclear and chaotic. The pattern is not really making sense, and so the specific thing that I'm looking for to enter a trade, I'm not seeing it there. The euro versus the US dollar has, during much of the time in the past, produced pretty clear patterns. Recently, because of the news with the euro and things going on with the economy in Europe, this pair is producing some distortions that are making it a little bit different, that are making it a little bit more difficult to figure out. So, although none of this is carved in stone, one of the pairs that tends to produce pretty clear trading opportunities most of the time is the Euro-Canadian. If you understand what a trade should look like, what an entry signal should look like, what an exit signal should look like, then you can look at this pair and go through all the different time frames, from the long time frame, from the daily, or even longer, to the 4-hour, the 1 hour, even down into the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and even sometimes on the 1-minute time frame you can see the same patterns within patterns that actually make sense. Another pair that we tend to gravitate towards a lot of the time is the Aussie versus the US dollar. And this pair has in the past had a certain way of distorting patterns, but once you are familiar that that's the behavior of the Aussie, then you can recognize what it's doing. And again, things are shifting longer term on this and all the pairs, and the way that things were distorted in the past may be different now, but overall this pair has pretty clear patterns with pretty distinct trading opportunities most of the time. We've been doing some trading on the Euro Swiss. This pair has produced a lot of good opportunities. And if you check the US dollar Swiss, it may be doing something very similar, but this one will move about 30% more in number of pips for the same trade. And we have all these different Swiss pairs, including the Swiss yen, which is an inverted correlated version of this and also has very clear patterns, but you may not really need to look at that one because it's just the same thing pretty much, but inverted. And this one moves more pips, but nevertheless, if one of them is a little bit clearer, sometimes it's more valuable to go with the one that is clear. A kind of advanced trading strategy that I sometimes use is, for instance, a lot of traders like to trade the pound yen because it moves so many pips, and the pound Swiss also moves so many pips. But it may be a little bit more chaotic and a little bit more unclear, and what you can do sometimes is use some of the correlated pairs that are similar to that pair as the signal to enter that pair itself. You could use the euro yen to help you enter the pound yen, but then again, sometimes it makes more sense to just go with the one that is clear. Now this is a little bit of an advanced technique, an advanced strategy, a skill that you need to develop. And if you attend our live trading sessions, I can show you more and more about what I'm talking about as we go through this process every day. But this has been one of the keys to real success in Forex trading. Instead of trying to figure out how to trade a certain pair, look for clarity and only trade when you find that clear trading opportunity. Don't stress yourself out trying to figure out something that just isn't clear.